Hi, I'm Anna Olson and welcome to Oh Yum. This is the best place on YouTube for delicious recipes and also a growing community of home cooks and food lovers alike. I'm so glad you're here so you could join me with one of my favorite vegetable side dishes to make during fall, whether it's a Sunday supper or a festive meal like Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's my Brussels sprouts with lemon and Asiago. And as well, I top it with toasted buckwheat kasha. But before I get into cooking, you need to subscribe to Oh Yum. Now, Brussels sprouts, you tend to cook in wintertime because that's when they're at their best. Brussels sprouts, they look like little cabbages, are sweetest after the first frost. So usually farmers, and I'm lucky enough to live in an area where Brussels sprouts grow, they grow on these huge stalks and you see them sit in almost an empty field waiting for that first frost. Then they're harvested. Then the easy part is cooking them. What you want to do is trim off the bottom, and if there are any rough looking leaves on the outside, you can peel them away. And just so they cook quickly, I cut mine in half. Because they are so dense, they stay intact. Well, this one's in good shape. To serve 6 to 8 people, planning for a holiday meal, I always plan a little extra. I've got 1 kilo of Brussels sprouts. That's before I trim them. I find that people don't sit on the fence when it comes to Brussels sprouts. They either love them or they hate them. But if you are not a Brussels sprout fan, I swear I am going to sell you on these by the end of this recipe. So I like my Brussels sprouts to be tender but still have some oomph to them. So before I pan fry them, I actually blanch them for 2 minutes. I have a pot of boiling water and I'm going to add a generous sprinkling of salt. And with a full rolling boil, I add my Brussels sprouts. And basically, by the time the pot returns to a boil, it'll be 2 minutes, and that's when I take them off the heat. So keep that colander handy. Okay, now the sprouts are back up to a boil. I'll take them off the heat, drop them into the colander. Now what you want to do is rinse these with cold water right away to halt the cooking. This is actually a great make-ahead tip. So if you were trying to take a step out of getting ready for the big holiday feast, this you could do a full day ahead, cool down your Brussels sprouts, and then just pack them away to then cook the next day whenever you're ready. Get right through to the bottom. I do this with most of my green vegetables, especially when I'm hosting a dinner party. That way, whether it's green beans, broccoli, asparagus, or Brussels sprouts, my vegetables stay green, are easily cooked, and then I just have to rewarm them. Let those drain. So now to get the sprouts ready to serve, I'll heat a saute pan on medium heat. I'll add a little olive oil and let that warm up too. Just give that a few seconds. I do like to use olive oil here for the flavor, and now that the heat has woken up the aroma, I can smell that sort of green banana smell. I know it's time to add the Brussels sprouts. When I'm cooking vegetables, I like to season them a little at the beginning and then a little bit at the end. So I'll add a touch of salt and pepper now, and then I'll just check later. But I have to keep in mind, I'm adding cheese to finish this, so you want to balance that, not add too much salt at first. You have the option, if you want, to cook the Brussels sprouts in the oven. What you'd want to do is spread them in an even layer in a casserole dish, tossed with the oil, and bake them for about 20-25 minutes at 350, stirring once or twice. I like the saute option. That way, when I'm doing other things around the kitchen, especially if it's a holiday meal, I can keep an eye on them. And they take, of course, half to a third the time to cook. But really it is, when you're deciding around holiday time, do I want to saute my Brussels sprouts or put them in the oven? It's about where the space is. If you've got the big turkey in the oven and there's room for nothing else, well then this is your option. Okay, while these are sauteing, I'll stir them once or twice, and it's okay if they get a little bit brown, but I'm really looking to soften them up. I'll get my other add-ons. Some chopped chives, just for a mild hint of onion flavor and that pop of color. So I got my chopped chives, lemon, and my grated Asiago. So I have that all set. After 7 minutes, I find the Brussels sprouts are nice and tender, but they're definitely not mushy. So this is the point, I'm almost ready to serve, where I want to add the lemon juice. I think the lemon juice is actually my favorite addition to the Brussels sprouts because its tartness highlights the sweetness that's inherent in the sprouts. And without the lemon, you don't even know it's there. You could also add a little bit of bacon. Give that a quick stir. Just let the lemon cook in. You can smell it. It even transforms the aroma of the Brussels sprouts. And now I'll grab my dish. All right. Now I'll pour this into my serving dish. Add the grated Asiago. I'll stir some in, but then I'll save a little sprinkling for on top. Same with the chives. Just let the heat of the Brussels sprouts melt that cheese a little bit. I like using Asiago because it has this, not quite the pungency of Parmesan cheese, but it melts so it's nice and stringy and soft and creamy. Sometimes, to add a little crunch, I like to sprinkle my Brussels sprouts with toasted walnut pieces. But if you're feeling adventurous, try my toasted buckwheat kasha. And if you'd like the tip on how to make the toasted buckwheat kasha, just click up here. But before you disappear, let me finish off my Brussels sprouts with a little more chive and that last little sprinkle of Asiago cheese. What a beautiful side dish to serve for a fall meal, especially a festive feast like Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. And speaking of, right here on Oh Yum, I have the full festive meal. So you have to subscribe, and also don't forget to tap that notification bell so you know when a new recipe is waiting for you.